Hi guys, on this one we've got a Qualcast GT head trimmer, which is developed for faults. That's the actual model there. What it is, there's a problem with the motor, it won't turn. It just hums. I've tried to try it previously and there was sparks coming out the side, so it's one lot of brushes, as you can see here. So what we're going to do is strip the unit down and have a look. First and foremost, make sure you remove the plug from the wall, the power plug from the wall, and then we're going to undo these screws on the side here to access the inside of the unit. And then what we're going to do is remove this safety handle here. Just one screw either side and pull it forwards, and as you can see, that's out. And then what we're going to do is flip it back on its side and remove the rest of the screws. There's a long screw in here which needs to come out, which was below the safety handle. And then just got to twist the front part, press the red button on the side and twist the blade on its side, and then undo the gearbox and get that out of the way. And then you can get to these two screws at the front of the green section. And once these screws are out, just get that last screw out fully. Just pull the unit apart. Be careful with the trigger as it might fly out. And there you can see I've pulled it apart, and I just need to remove this metal cover here. There's just the one screw holding it. It also screws into one side of the brushes, carbon brushes. Just get that out of the way, and I'll just give you a close up here. As you can see, this part here, that's the brush for the one side, and that's the carbon brush for the other side. And the dark part turning, that's the commutator, which looks burnt. It's usually brass colour, copper colour. So we're going to change these brushes here because they do look worn, and clean the commutator also. So it's just a matter of undoing the screw here for the one side of the carbon brushes. There's two screws holding it in. And just gonna undo the other side. As I say, please ensure that you've removed the plug from the socket. And then this is the brushes here. You just hold on with a spade connector, which I'll remove. And then there's a spade connector that holds the brushes in also, as you can see there, for the spring-loaded action. And as you can see, I've pulled it apart here, took the old brushes out. And there are the two old brushes. Ordered a set of new brushes, and here they are. So it's just a matter of sliding the new brushes into the its housing, which is spring-loaded, like so. And then once you've got the brush in and it's spring-loaded, as you can see here, you just got to connect the spade connector from the brush onto the back of this housing, like so. A little bit fiddly. So that's the one side done. Just got to do the other side. And once again, you just use the carbon brush housing and fit the new brush inside beyond the spring. You'll know if you got it on the right way. So it just slots in here like so. And the brushes push up against it. And there you go, spring loaded. That's the two brushes assembled with its holder. Just give you a close up of what they look like when they're fully assembled. And now they're ready to be put back into the unit. But first I'm going to clean the commutator. Just as you see, I've cleaned it there. It's nice and shiny. Just use a bit of rock wool or Brillo. Don't use sandpaper because sandpaper is too coarse. All you've got to do is spin it and hold the rock wool on it, and it should come up nice, and the commutator should come up nice and shiny, nice and brass colour, copper colour, sorry. And now I'm just going to put the spade connector for the plus. I'm just going to fit that onto the left hand side here, as you can see, and just like I say, the carbon brushes presses up against the motor, and then just put the two screws in. And just fit the left side, the negative side also. Just clip the spade connector in. You'll have to remove the screw, one of the screws for the carbon brushes on this to fit this bracket back in. Just protects the bracket plate and make sure it's not touching anything else. Make sure it's not shorting on the other side, or you'll get a big bang when you plug it in. So just make sure it's off and independent and not touching on anything else. And then this is the tricky part, just a matter of reassembling it, the unit. But first I'm going to test, if you hear the click there on the micro switch, I'm just going to test that the safety trigger is working before I put it all together. And just a matter of getting this trigger in. This trigger will try to jump out as you're trying to put it back together. So you need kind of like three hands. And if you notice, I keep my hands constantly on the trigger because it will try to jump out because of the spring that goes behind it. And just test it here. Press the little section in where the safety guard goes, and you can hear it clicking nicely, which means it's making a connection, so that's good. So at that stage, just a matter of putting the screws back together. Just pop these two screws in the front, which I took off last. Front of the green section. And here you can see me just putting the rest of the screws back in. And I'm just putting the safety switch back in, safety guard switch. Just pushes in, and make sure you put the long screw back in prior. And at this stage I'm just going to test that it's working. It's got a nice click, so it's working fine. So I'm just going to put the two screws for that back in also, one on either side. 4 screws, sorry, 2 on each side. press the other two screws back in. And that completes. As you can see here, I've got it running. Seems to be running fine. And that concludes. Thanks for watching once again, and please subscribe.